It started with a news report that in the Incheon area, small-sized larva-like worms have been found in the tap water. A flurry of similar reports followed. Now, it is not confined in Incheon, but residents in other cities also say they found worms in the tap water. The tiny creature is suspected to be a larva that hatched in certain parts of purifying facilities. Experts say the worms are not harmful if consumed, but residents in the region feel so uncomfortable and are worried that the tap water they drink is contaminated. The safety issue of tap water emerged multiple times in the past. Most of the cases were connected to foreign materials found in the water. As people did in the past, residents in the region now turn to buying private purifying gadgets and bottled water. There are news reports that because of the spike of orders, deliverers are having a hard time carrying packages of bottled water, which is one of the heaviest items that are ordered online. Most people believe that the government and authorities are to blame for the poor management of municipal water's quality. Clean air and water are the basic necessities for everyone, but they don't seem to be easy to get now, even with the development of green technology and advanced water purification. The tap water was contaminated with larva-like worms, which caused a panic in people living in the affected areas. So first I'd like to talk about what we call tap water, or the tap water. Tap water is the water that comes out of your sink, your shower, your bathtub, a hose, anything that comes from the city is what we call tap water. So a lot of times if you go to a restaurant in America, they'll ask you, if you ask for water, they'll say, do you want bottled or tapped? So tap means it comes from the city. And then I said it was contaminated with larva-like worms. So I was talking with SJ about this. We weren't really sure what the classifications of the worms were. Some said midges, which are like mosquitoes, but larva can be so many things. It can be fluke, flatworm. There's so many different types of these little worms that get into the water supply. So it's just best to say larva-like worms, or just larva or worms. And it says it caused a panic in people living in the affected areas. So it caused a panic means people really got worried and they really got scared and they started calling the government and taking pictures and posting online. So it caused people to get very emotional. And I said people living in the affected areas. So this is not a Korea-wide problem. It was in Incheon and also other cities. So like, for example, if there's a snowstorm, you would say, where are the affected areas? It's like, oh, only Gangwon-do was affected. So if there's a fire, you would say, oh, there's only a small affected area. It means where something happened, localized. Larva-like worms were found in the water supply and had sparked concern about the water citizens are consuming. So I said the worms were found in the water supply. So when we again talk about water and the water supply, it means every city has a reservoir, it has a water purification system, and sometimes if there's a drought, the water supply gets lower. But when we talk about water in general, we talk about the water supply. We also call it municipal water. So municipal means city or city services. So municipal water, or you might just say, people say city water or water from the city, because each city has their own different system for water purification, supply, and sewage. And I said it has sparked concern about the water citizens are consuming. So to spark means to start something, like start a fire, but it kind of happened suddenly. So people saw these worms and they suddenly got scared. So it kind of sparked concern because people saw these things online and heard about it and immediately stopped drinking water. There was a surge of orders for water purifiers and bottled water. Delivery people are physically strained due to the heavy weight of larger orders of water. So I said there was a surge of orders. So a surge is like a sudden rush of either, like, it could be a wave, it could be water, or it could be people doing something. So right now there's like a surge of people buying Tesla stock. And this Tesla stock has gone up like almost 60% since 2 weeks ago. So it's been a surge. And I said they're ordering water purifiers. So before SJ said gadgets, so we wanted to talk about that word because not a lot of Koreans know about it. So a gadget is sort of any piece of technology that does something. So for example, a pencil sharpener is a gadget. Your cell phone is a gadget. Somebody gave me a piece of metal that can take a toothpaste tube and kind of squeeze out the toothpaste at the end. That's a gadget. Or like a watch that monitors like a Fitbit. That's a gadget. So any piece of technology that does something is a gadget. So you can have like a gadget that purifies water. You can attach it to your sink. Or even there's certain straws that you can use that if you suck up the water, it'll purify it immediately. That's a gadget. And a water purifier is anything that cleans the water of heavy metals, chloride, chlorine, or for in this case, worms. And then I said delivery people are physically strained due to the weight of the large orders. So if you're straining to do something, you're trying very hard. So if you go to the gym and pick up a heavy weight, your muscles are straining. So in this case, you have these delivery people and they're picking up large bottles of water. So their bodies are getting strained, their backs are strained, their arms are strained. Bottled water deliveries have increased, and so has the heavy load the delivery workforce has to carry. There's also a sharp increase of purifiers being sold. So I said the heavy load that the delivery workforce has to carry. Workforce is a business English term. It can define a group of people or the number of people working somewhere. So for example, you can say the company has a workforce of 500, or there are a lot more women in the workforce. Or you can say the Korean workforce is shrinking due to technology. So the workforce is just a number of people working in a country or company. And finally, I said there's also a sharp increase of purifiers being sold. A sharp increase means kind of a rapid, quick increase where a lot of people are buying something or something is increasing very fast. Officials claim the worms pose no danger to people's health, but having worms in the water is bad optics and has caused distrust amongst Koreans. So first I said the worms pose no danger. So to pose a danger means there's a possibility of danger that you could get hurt or killed. But in this case, the officials say it poses no danger, meaning that if you do consume these worms, they're not harmful at all. But then I said the worms in the water are bad optics. Bad optics, so optic or optical means something that you see. Opt is Latin for eye. But if something has bad optics, it means it doesn't look good to the public. So, obviously, if you pour water and see a worm in it, you're going to feel that's disgusting, that's terrible. It doesn't look good. And it doesn't look good for society to have worms in their water. It's bad optics. Also like it could be behavior. So let's say, the government says, stay indoors, wear your mask, and so you won't spread coronavirus. But then you see the government out at dinner, partying and drinking. That is bad optics. That's like something that they shouldn't be doing because it looks bad. The larva was deemed safe to consume, but this incident has tarnished the reputation of public drinking water across the nation. So we talked about the larva or larva-like worms. So the larva could be like little eggs or little worms. So we said larva-like worms or just larva. And it was deemed safe. So if something is deemed safe, it's decided that it is safe. So if they deem it unsafe, that means it's then decided it's unsafe. So another word of saying that someone decided something. And then finally, I said the incident has tarnished the reputation. So tarnish, if the noun tarnish it's like a kind of rust, usually on metal. So if you have an old piece of metal, it's got like green spots on it, red spots on it, that's tarnish, and it's been tarnished by the weather. But you can clean it and you can untarnish it. But we also use it if someone does something bad, it tarnishes their reputation. So you have to imagine if someone's reputation was clean, they did something bad, now there's kind of dirt on it or green, like ugly stuff. So they said the reputation was tarnished, usually when something bad happens. So if you see a worm in public drinking water, that's not good. It's going to tarnish the image and people won't think it's safe. Potable drinking water is the foundation of civilization. This is a wake-up call for us to focus on environmental factors that affect our health. So I said potable drinking water is the foundation of civilization. So if water is potable, it's another word of saying you can drink it. So if you're walking in the forest and you see a pond, that's not potable. There's probably all sorts of larvae and bugs in there. But a river that's flowing quickly, that is potable. Or if you need to boil water to make it potable, that means you are able to drink it. So potable is able, but not potable is unable to drink. And then I said, this is a wake-up call for us to focus on environmental factors. So a wake-up call is an event in someone's life or in society where you have to make a change. So for example, if you and your best friend, you guys smoke cigarettes, but then your best friend gets lung cancer and dies. That's a wake-up call because something bad happened to this person, so you better quit smoking because that could happen to you. So in this case, Korea is a pretty advanced society, but you have worms in the water. So this is kind of a wake-up call for the government to be like, look, we need to focus on the basic problems here rather than worrying about something else. We have to fix this now. Part of our quality of life is determined by the air we breathe and the ability to drink water and not get sick. The government needs to redirect their attention to these basic issues. So I said part of our quality of life is determined by the air we breathe and the water we drink. So when we talk about quality of life, there are many different factors. For example, the price of gas, the quality of education. But in societies, we look at the quality of life. Can you drink the water? Is the air clean? So different factors kind of affect the broader idea of quality of life. And then finally, the government needs to redirect their attention to these basic issues. So if the government is so I said redirect. So if the government is focused on getting reelected and campaigning, they're not paying attention to the water supply. So they need to redirect their attention and focus on the basic issues rather than politics. All right, guys, thanks for listening. And don't forget to buy the Konglish Killer book. It's available at all major bookstores, even on Coupang. You can shoot me an email at feurey@gmail.com. Bye-bye.